Hi there, I'm Andrew Williams, one of the scientific assistants for the Deep Learning Essentials online course. I hope your journey into deep learning is going well, and congratulations on making it through Module 1. Also, good job on choosing to do the tutorial. Although you might want to skip ahead, you won't get far without a bit of coding knowledge. I'm going to help you start off on the right foot. I'm going to show you 3 simple things today. Opening Google Colab, saving a copy of the Colab notebook for yourself, and I'm going to walk you through the first exercise. Most exercises are similar in format, so what I show you should be transferable to the other exercises. If you haven't read the text yet, please pause this video and do so now. It contains super valuable information and a few words of encouragement. Now that that's done, let's click the link to the Google Colab notebook. Now, before we do anything, we're going to want to save a copy of this notebook for ourselves and not just for future reference. This notebook belongs to someone else and they haven't given you permission to overwrite it. What that means is that if you try to save this notebook, you'll get a nice error message stating that the notebook is in something called playground mode, which specifies that changes will not be saved unless you make a copy of the notebook. Also, after a few hours of inactivity, Colab notebooks disconnect from the cloud to redistribute the online resources that were allocated to your notebook. If you haven't made a copy and decide to take a break, you will lose all your progress and you'll have to start over. When we save a copy, there are 3 options: Google Drive, GitHub, or we can download it to our computer. Making a copy in Google Drive or GitHub are both fine, but I don't recommend saving locally. You'll have to either set up your own Python distribution or upload the notebook back to Google Colab if you plan on making changes to it. To make a copy in your Google Drive, simply click it in the Files dropdown, and a new tab will open with your copy of the notebook. This copy is yours, so you can alter it and save it however you like. You can also make a copy in GitHub, although clicking Save in GitHub will give you a similar warning to attempting to overwrite. You have to first save it as a gist, and then you can do whatever you feel like in GitHub. Now that that's taken care of, let's look around. On the left, we have a useful table of contents to navigate between the sections of the tutorial. You can use it to go back and forth between exercises to copy and paste repetitive pieces of code to make your life easier. On the right, we can see the content of the notebook, and it has 2 types of cells: white cells, which contain text, and gray cells, which contain code. Let's scroll down to the data download section, which contains our first code cell and our first exercise. The authors have provided us with a function to download the Cyfar10 dataset, a seminal deep learning dataset containing 60,000 images in 10 different classes. The cell takes as input 2 arguments. The first is a path, which specifies a location to store the downloaded dataset. The second argument specifies whether the function will download the train or the test dataset. The function will then return as separate variables the set of images and the set of associated labels. To run a code cell, which means to have the Python code in it be processed and the output printed, we click the Run button in the top left of the cell. That'll process the code inside of it, and its output will appear in the space below. Even if you don't modify anything in the cell, make sure to run them sequentially as you come across them. Some cells further along won't work properly if previous cells haven't already run. If you decide to take a break and your Google Colab session times out, you will have to rerun all previous coding cells up to the point where you resume the tutorial. The first exercise asks us to download the Cyfar10 train dataset. Luckily for us, the function that the authors defined can do exactly this. We only need to figure out what the arguments for the function should be. The first argument is the path, which specifies where the downloaded dataset will be stored. If you're unfamiliar with Google Colab, this may seem puzzling. For the purpose of this tutorial, we can store the data in the / path, which will create a new folder for us to store the data inside. Don't forget to put quotation marks around the path. However, when you're working on bigger projects and you need to organize various downloads, you can click on the Files tab to the left of the table of contents to view the cloud storage you have access to. In it, you can create new folders and subfolders to keep your downloads organized. By right-clicking a folder or a downloaded file, you can copy its path directly. The second argument, train_flag, specifies whether we're downloading the train dataset or the test dataset. Since we want to download the train dataset, we'll set its value to be true, and then we can run the cell. In the output section, you can see that the dataset is being downloaded. And that's all there is to it. Most exercises will follow a similar format. The authors have defined a function, and you have to figure out how to use it. Sometimes the exercises may feel repetitive or the answer may not be obvious, and that's okay. If you need to take a break, go for it, as long as you've made your own copy of the notebook. Good luck.